Hello friends, in this video we are going to learn about some of the most commonly used methods in Python strings. So Python has a set of built-in methods that you can use on strings. So we will discuss some of these most commonly used methods. So the first method is len. So as its name implies, the len function or the len method is used to return the length of a string. Okay. So let's flip to Jupyter Notebook. Okay, let's have a variable called s and let's assign a string value. Suppose the string value is Python. Let's assign this string to this variable s. Okay. Now, what is the length of this string? So this string has 6 characters, right? Python. So the length of this string is 6. So let's try to use the len method on this string and let's see whether 6 is printed or not. So let's run the cell. Yes, as expected, 6, that is the length of the variable or the length of the string s is printed. Okay. Now let's take a different string literal. Let's say the string literal is blank space Python is an interpreted language, and then again blank space. Okay, now what I want to do, I want to remove the blank spaces from the beginning of the string and from the end of the string, but I don't want to remove the blank spaces from the middle of the string. That is, I don't want to remove the blank spaces between the characters. Okay, so in that case I will take help of the strip method. So let's print s dot strip. Okay, first of all, let's run the len method again on this variable s. Okay, let's run it and it gives you 37. So including the blank spaces at the beginning and at the end, there are total 37 characters in this string. Now let's apply the strip method on the string s and let's try to store the output on a variable called trimmed string. Okay, we store the output in a variable called trimmed string. Now what we do, we'll print two things. Okay, first we'll print the output, that is the trimmed string, and secondly we will print the length of the trim string. Fine. Now let's run the cell. Okay, so we have run the cell and we have got the trim string. Python is an interpreted language and this string does not contain any white spaces at the beginning and at the end. And as the white spaces have been removed from the beginning and from the end, earlier the length of the string was 37. Now the length of the string has been reduced to 33 because four white spaces, 2 from the beginning and 2 from the end, have been removed. That's why length of the trimmed string has been reduced to 33. Fine guys. Okay, now let's check what is the next method. The next method is lstrip. Now there might be cases when you want to remove just the white spaces from the beginning of the string and you want to keep the white spaces at the end of the string. You don't want to remove them, you just want to remove the white spaces from the beginning. So in such cases, instead of using the strip method, you will use the lstrip method. So lstrip is actually denoting left strip. So it will trim the white spaces from the left or from the beginning of the string. So let's try that out. Let's apply the lstrip method on that string, and let's, like before, we will have a variable called trimmed string. We'll print the trimmed variable as well as the length of the variable, and the method will now be lstrip. Okay, now let's run the cell, and you can see the white spaces from the beginning have been removed, and if I just select this, you can clearly see that the white spaces at the end are still there, and as only the white spaces from the end are existing and the white spaces from the beginning have been removed, so the length of the string has been reduced from 37 to 35. Fine. Now let's look at the next method. So just like the lstrip method, there is another method called rstrip, which will remove the white spaces only from the end, and if there is any white space present in the beginning of the string, those will remain as they are. Okay, so let's check that as well. Again, let's assign back the old value to the variable s. Again, do the same thing, apply the rstrip method and apply the rstrip method and store the result in a variable called trim string, and let's again print the variable as well as the length of the variable. Let's run the cell, and again we get 35 as the length of the variable. So clearly, if you select the string, you can clearly understand the white spaces are present at the beginning, but the white spaces from the end have been removed. Fine. Let's switch back to the slide again and let's see which is the next method. Okay, so the next method is join. So what this method does, it joins the elements of an iterable through a delimiter. Okay, let's switch back to the Jupyter notebook and let's see how this join method actually works. Suppose we have an iterable. Suppose we have an iterable. Now what is an iterable? An iterable is simply a collection over which you can iterate. So the examples of iterables are list, tuples, sets, range, etc. So when we'll discuss about the data structures like list, tuples, sets, dictionaries, etc., then we will discuss in detail what an iterable is and how we can iterate over iterables. So for now, just understand the basic thing that an iterable is a sequence or a collection of elements. So a list is an example of an iterable. So we have declared a list here which contains 3 different elements, and all the elements are string elements. The first element is ABC, the second element is BCD, and the third element is XYZ. Now suppose we want to concatenate these 3 elements with the help of a delimiter, and the delimiter will be semicolon. So I want a string like this: ABC semicolon BCD semicolon XYZ. So I want a string like this. In such cases, the join method will come into picture. We'll take a variable delimiter, and the delimiter will be semicolon in our case. Now, how can we concatenate all these 3 strings using semicolon? Let's see that. Delimiter dot join li. Let's first save this output, save the output of this join method to a variable called result. And let's try to print the variable result. Let's run the cell and we get the output as expected. So that's how the join method works. Now instead of semicolon, if we would want to concatenate these three strings by blank space, then simply we would have assigned the variable delimiter with a blank space, and we would have got, in that case we would have got abc space bcd space xyz. Let's try that as well. Suppose I want to join these three strings with blank space, and let's run the cell again and we get the output as expected. Now one thing to note here is that here in this list all the three elements are strings. Now if we take an iterable in which there is at least one element which is a non-string element, then this join method is not gonna work. It will immediately raise an error. Let's verify that as well. Now let's make it 1 and let's try to do this join, and it immediately raises an error saying sequence item 0 expected str instance int found. So what is it saying? Sequence item 0, that is the item at index 0, that is the first item. For the first item it expected an str, that is it expected a string, but instead what it found? It found an integer. So Python immediately raises an error when we want to apply the join method on an iterable which contains at least one non-string element. Okay, now let's see which is the next method. So the next three methods are also very simple. There is a method called lower. What it does, the lower method returns the string in lowercase. So it converts all the characters of the string to lowercase characters. Similarly, there is a method called upper which will again convert all the characters of a string to uppercase. So these two are very simple and straightforward, right? And there is again a method called replace. It replaces the replace method replaces a string with another string. So let's flip to Jupyter Notebook again and let's see some practical examples of these three methods, that is upper, lower and replace. Okay, suppose we take this string again. Okay, we take this string again and now these blank spaces are no more needed. These blank spaces were needed for the previous demos to show the lstrip and rstrip method, so we remove the blank space here. So here you can see that this string contains one uppercase character, that is p, and all the other characters are lowercase characters. Now I want to convert the entire string to lowercase, that is I want to convert all the characters to lowercase characters. Now that can be simply done using the lower method. So let's print it. And we get the desired output where all the characters are lowercase characters. Now similarly, if we want to convert all the characters to uppercase characters, we will simply use the upper method. It is print s.upper. Okay. Now let's run the cell and we get all the characters in uppercase. Fine. Now the replace method. Now we have this string. Python is an interpreted language. Now let's take some other string. Okay, let's take this string. Python is a language, comma Java is a language, comma, I will also tell C# is a language. Okay. Now, what I want to do, wherever there is this word language present in this string, I want to replace this word language by the string programming language. So instead of language, I need to have programming language. So it should be, the output should be Python is a programming language, Java is a programming language, C# is a programming language. Now let's see how we can do that using the replace method. s.replace language comma programming language. Fine. Let's print this string. That is, let's print the output. Let's run the cell and we get the desired output, right? We get Python is a programming language, Java is a programming language, and C# is a programming language. So what this replace method does, it simply replaces all the occurrences of a particular string with another string. Fine, guys? So friends, that's it for this video. I have given you some exercise problems. Please try to solve these problems, and you can let me know the answer of the first two questions in the comment section. And if you face any difficulty while solving any problem, that is completely normal. Just let me know which are the problems that you are stuck with, and I'll come up with the solution of those problems. If you have liked my video, please subscribe to my channel so that you get notified when I'll upload more Python and data science related videos. And please don't forget to like and share my video so that it reaches a larger audience and they also get benefited from it. Thanks a lot for watching.